Today is what I think is the most important lesson on continuing on with your learning for mindfulness and meditation. What happens from this point on is connected to what we're going to learn today. So what I would like for you to attempt and to practice as we move along is to unlearn what you have learned and then relearn a lot of these same things, but in a new way, a new form, with a mature mind. What I'm really asking you to do is to start to see the world as though you were a child, and see those little moments and rediscover them and see them with a new light, a new mature mind. Imagine a child eating something disgusting for the first time. In the same way, to see a child eat sugar for the first time with excitement on their face. These are the same things that I want you to rediscover. Children at the age of 4 and 5 start to discover how to lie and how to manipulate. And they learn that it actually does work in life. These are tricks. And we ask these questions: why have they learned to do those things? What brings them to learning these skills? Why do they want to? This is really a societal thing. This is something that we've learned to do for thousands of years, right? This is like to find the weak link in others in order to propel and elevate our own social status. It's just always been the way, and it's no different today. Constantly, over and over. And again, we learn this when we're young, a young child. And so, in doing so, we learn bad habits. And we're often manipulated into thinking that somehow you are lower, your self-worth is lower than others. And we lose confidence in ourselves. Our self-esteem is so lowered that we're always walking on eggshells, trying to play this game of society. Instead of looking at things that are more important to put our energy towards. We want to put our energy towards a healthy living. We want to achieve certain goals. So between the survival aspect and enjoying life, sometimes we are wasting our times, or we are putting a barrier on that because we are too afraid to go towards the things that we enjoy. A good example of that, my favorite one really, is going to the movie theater. I love going to the movies. And if I had to go see a movie by myself, I certainly would go. Question is would you go to the movie theater by yourself to see a movie that you would like to really see? And a lot of people I know would say no, simply because they're too afraid of being ridiculed. They're too afraid that people are going to think that they are loners or that they're losers. And there's two problems there. You see, there's the issue of being afraid of what other people think of you. And then there's the aspect that, yes, people will probably make fun of you for the reasons that I explained. See, once you see the truth, then you start to gain the confidence. Your self-esteem starts to rise when you see that there has been this manipulation going on the whole time. That this feeling that I'm not worthy, this feeling that I may be not pretty, or I'm ugly, or I am not a man, or I'm dumb, or I'm a loner, I'm a loser. All these unfortunate feelings that arise in the mind are all not real. Like the child who's asking his parents over and over, why
is that person being that way? Why did that person do what they're doing? Why is this the way that is? What, and why, and how? Often you see in situations where a parent may even lie to the child to avoid explaining the harshness of the realities of things. So there's usually even a parental, an adult lying to a child. That adult has been doing this their whole lives. And so this example of the lie is just one of many aspects that you start to learn and realize how it's been affecting not only you, but everyone around you. You start to see where the goodness lies. You start to see the path a lot easier and a lot better. You start to be able to navigate towards the truth and an easier, happier life without having to struggle with the negativity all the time. And especially if you're a person who has become accustomed to becoming negative. You know, if you're a person who lies all the time, then you have to constantly fight with keeping that lie going. You know, it takes a lot of energy to keep a lie going. And if you are a person who lies all the time, you're constantly fighting the battle. You're fighting against the current. You're not going with the flow. You're fighting a battle that has to do with your own self-esteem and your own confidence. And there's other better ways to work that out. You want to live a happy life. You want to live a certain life. You want to be a certain person. And so that's what this is all about. To unlearn is like removing all the junk that's in your head. Just get rid of what is not serving you. Stop thinking the ways that have been crippling you from achieving to be the person that you want to be, or living the life you want to live. You know, you have to live with whatever circumstances there is in life, but you could still find peace in what you have. You start to form appreciation for things. You become grateful for all these things when you notice it, when you see it, and you're no longer fighting it. So that's what we're saying, right? You know, so you need to see how to best use the energy in your life. So imagine life is a video game, right? And your energy meter is 100%. So you're using so much energy in a day or in your life to achieve certain things. But if you start using the energy in the wrong way, you're going to be working really hard to achieve very little. By using a little bit of energy, you can gain an abundance more. So using less energy and receiving more output, which takes focus, it takes skill, it takes awareness, and you get better at the game as you move along. When you start using the right buttons, when you start doing the right things. But if you keep fighting all the time, you're not going to achieve very much, or at least even when you do achieve what you're looking for, you might be exhausted, you might be tired, you might get depressed, you might feel worn out and beat up. And you'll ask yourself if it was all worth it anyway, because it may not have been a really fun thing to do. You may have not enjoyed your time trying to achieve these things that you want. However, if you use the energy in the right way, you use the least amount of energy as necessary, and then you watch the gains come in. You use 20% to get back 80. So you could do that through all these aspects of your life. Watch yourself. Watch your connection with other people, from your friends, your family, your coworkers. Watch the little things about spending money. Like a child learning to spend a few cents to gain a few candy. Learning to budget to be realistic about your financial goals and how you budget yourself and spend your money and save. To even your health, right? What makes you feel good? Start eating the right things as opposed to eating an abundance of junk. How does it affect you? How does exercise affect you? We get used to being relaxed and sitting on a couch or lying in a bed somewhere, whereas what is the feeling like when you start to do exercises? For an example, when I started to work out at the beginning of my workout journey, I hated going to the gym. I hated the feeling of feeling exhausted. My stomach, I felt like I wanted to puke all the time, and my muscles hurt and my lungs hurt. But then the more you do it, the more you're into it, you start to feel the blood flowing, and you start getting sort of addicted to the flow of the blood in your muscles. You start to get used to that feeling of your lungs expanding. You start to get used to your abilities to lift things that you couldn't lift before. And so there's a whole new feeling and a whole new aspect when you realize certain things. So comparing different aspects and moving towards what feels right for you. And again, it may not be going to the gym, but it should be more productive in your life instead of destructive. We want to see constructive things in our lives instead of destroying things. We don't want to destroy our relationships. We don't want to sabotage our financial situations. We want to grow in our work and in our lives, in our skills, in our mind. We want to become more intelligent. We want to be more creative. And then the final thing is to touch on your spirituality. Wherever you were born at the beginning of time for you, you have been indoctrinated into a system that has some form of religion. And that religion may have been imposed on you either directly or indirectly. Even if you're not religious, you know that it's around you. You know that it affects a lot of things, from schools to government to the things that you watch and how people treat you. But the spirituality that I would like you to focus on is your own personal one within. I want you to be able to see and feel your connection with spirit. Touch upon what is God for you. What is God? And what is spirit? And how do I feel? What's the difference when I'm in connection with that and when I'm not in connection with that? It might answer whether or not there is a spiritual essence or not. And I'm not here to judge. And I'm also not here to tell you to stop using your religious practices. I'm just saying, keep your spirituality between you, this, and everything else. Even if it's just down to the basic natures of life. You and the trees. You and the water, you and the clouds, you and the rainbows, you and everything. And so, as we move on to the next lessons, I want you to be mindful about the unlearning and then relearning everything again. I imagine that's one of the reasons why you're here following these lessons, and it will change the way you see, and it will most likely benefit you in a positive way. So as we follow along into these next videos, join me, and until then, enjoy life. Take care, and I wish you well.